Get a couple more games in. Let's do it.
Oh, you play Hero Pop. Oh, you play Scandi. What is this? Queen D6 here? Oh. Do you ever have this position?
No, I don't think so. Dude, you gotta keep up with the Black Gambit's repertoire available at www.gotham-chess.com.
Ooh.
I like this line a lot. I don't win a lot of games, but I still like it.
I'm completely out of book.
Yes.
I don't know where my bishop should go.
F1. It's actually not even that bad of a move.
Oh,
No. I wasn't serious.
Wait, really? Oh. I mean, there's like Ben Feingold always play bishop F1.
Wow.
He's really solid against you. Wow.
I have to play against the weaknesses, right? I don't know why I thought you couldn't play that move. It's like, you can't play knight f3. Okay.
My goal is to have no weaknesses, then you'll have nothing to play against.
Hey, it's me, Gotham Chess. You're currently watching this on my YouTube channel, and I'm really sorry to inform you, but because somebody used a boombox in the background, we can't have the audio for this video over the next 3 or so minutes. So instead, you're gonna get a voiceover narration of this game and the really hilarious and idiotic blunder that ensued. So I played the move c5 here. I took some space on the queen side, and I told Eric that I really liked his eyebrows. I don't actually remember what happened, because I can't hear it. We traded pawns on the queen side, and Eric played the move queen to e2 here. Notice that he is connecting his rooks. Here I slide my queen out a square, hesitate, but do in fact do it. Eric attacks my queen, and here I'm really indecisive. Do I go there, there, or there? There. I like to team up my queen here with my light squared bishop. Eric doesn't like that, which is why he invites the exchange. My queen and bishop there on the diagonal form what's called a battery, while our rooks are having a staring contest, and I trade one of them and play the move rook to a8, and Eric plays queen f1. The queen that he just moved supports both his light squared bishop and the rook in the corner. And I'm hesitating here because I don't really know how to make progress. But when in doubt, tell your opponent that you like the shirt that they're wearing or something, I don't know, h6. That's called a luft. That also prepares the g-pawn moving up 2 squares to attack his dark squared bishop and his knight. And also, like I just said, it's a luft, so my king will never get back rank mated. Raise your hand if you've ever been back rank mated. Or don't, because I can't see you. Narrating games is very difficult. Bishop takes bishop, knight takes bishop, Eric slides back, but this is not a good move because boom! I open up his king and I damage his pawn structure. Very nice, but now what? What do I do now? Well, first, I adjust his pawn because it was off center, threatening to slide it off the board so that he wouldn't see it. I'm talking to him as well. Got to get into my opponent's head. You know how it is, Conor McGregor style. You'll do nothing. I'm not very good at Irish accents. Yeah, I know you don't get the live audio from this game, but I hope that this voiceover at least makes you laugh a little bit. We're down to about a minute and a half here each. I decide to slide my pawn forward 1 square, softening up that queen side. He has that trio of pawns DCB, BCD, CBD? CBD. Definitely CBD. Trying to break it up over there so I can create some weaknesses. He plays the move f3 even though Ben Feingold says not to. Eric Rosen makes his own rules. Black definitely has the advantage, as you can see from the eval bar, but it's not so clear. And I kind of mess up here by losing the staring contest of rooks. Eric plays queen g2, and I play queen e7. Now here he has a free pawn. He takes it and he threatens mate, but I have queen f6. Queen f6 stops his threats, attacks his bishop, and the pawn in the corner. Here I suggest for Eric to move his bishop back, and he does it. And then I take his pawn. So now we both are at 5 pawns, and his king is a bit weak. My queen and knight are very strong. We both agree here that it's a bad position. He offers me a queen trade. When in doubt, don't trade queens. Do not trade queens. I have an advantage here. I want to break up his queen side still. Plays rook to a7, and I play b3. There we go. I'm weakening his king side, and now Eric misses check, and I attack his pawn as well. He realizes it's a bad position. I have 50 seconds. He's down to about 30. That is a substantial difference. Queen g3. I take his pawn. He goes to threaten mate. And I'm like, man, he's threatening all these mates. What do I do? And I realize here I have a nice little combination. Queen b1, and I'll show you this later in our game analysis. I give him a check. Since I'm checking him, he can't mate me. Then he goes up. I take a pawn with check. He moves up, and I take another pawn. I'm now up 3 pawns, and there's no mate. Rook b7. He has 18 seconds. I have 37. I defend my pawn. Looks like I'm in the driver's seat. The game is over. And then I hang my queen in one move. What am I doing? It's just a free queen. And I'm like, let's see my heart rate. And it's just hanging. He can just queen take. Oh my God, he doesn't see it. And we're both like, what? And Eric's like, I trusted you. I trusted you. Now he's got about 4 seconds here. So I push my pawns. He threatens one more mate. Check, slides back, out of the way. I take a pawn. I give him a check. And now we trade queens. I knock over his king, symbolic. And the final move of the game is a check. And he loses on time. We both have a laugh because I am so trash at chess. And it's really sad that somehow both of us missed that move. Ugh, so bad. So I wanted to extend this video a little bit and actually give you a full breakdown of this game. Also, before we jump into it, do let me know if you want me to upload some of the other games that we played. This one, of course, had the biggest blunder and was by far the most absurd. And it's quite rare that two strong players just honestly miss something so obvious and so close. The move that had to be played was so close together. So Eric began with e4. I played the move d5. Of course, opening doesn't matter. We've played many games against each other. And rather than playing the typical Scandinavian defense recapture, I played the move knight f6, inviting various gambits, like the Portuguese gambit, the Icelandic gambit. Eric gave me this check. And then at this point, I'm not 100% sure about the move knight c3. I don't think it's the most critical move. I think d4 and c4 are mildly more challenging. Here I joke that he should play bishop f1. It's definitely not a good move. And he tried to reroute the bishop over here. He basically gives away, any of his potential advantage in this game, because now I just have 3 pieces out. So I have more pieces developed than him. And I can even play moves like b4 here, for example, to try to capture the pawn back. Or this, right? 4 things now stare at this pawn. And I immediately capture it back. Now, in this position, he plays the ultra-solid knight f3. He castles, and a couple moves later, I castle as well. So around here, the audio went out. And the audio went out because if I kept it in, this video would have been demonetized, and I would have made a grand total of $0 on it because somebody in the background was playing some music. Unfortunately, that's how it works. Now, if you let the engine run in this position, it thinks the position is 0.00, like absolutely equal. That might mean that the engine just doesn't see a way forward for either side. But the good thing is that with 7 pawns each and a bunch of pieces, you still have to play, right? So Eric plays the move bishop to e3, and immediately black is better. Some of those moves that are recommended by the machine are something like rook e1, queen e2. If you want to move the bishop, apparently you have to go to d2 or b3 and bishop b2. But my plan is very simple. I want to take a little bit more space, okay? I defend this pawn. I might as well take a little bit of space. Notice I'm not taking space with this pawn. The reason I'm not taking space with this pawn is because this exchange might actually still be beneficial for me. And as you saw in the game, maybe we trade down the a-file and I try to infiltrate. And in general, keeping the tension is a skill in chess that you develop as you play more and more. I'm also restricting some of his center pieces. Maybe I'm gonna play c4 in the future. Like, we don't know. Maybe this is one of my later ideas to try to kind of open up that b file and soften up the potential weak pawn on b2. So it's just a decent move. He trades, and then he plays the move queen e2. And here I have a lot of options. I can continue on with my plan of c4. I can play the move queen c7, which is what I played in the game. I can play queen b8, which is another interesting suggestion by the computer. But in general, the reason why I do this is that when in doubt, it's a good idea to connect your rooks, because otherwise, you'll have to be moving the queen if the rook was to come down and capture. This move also takes away knight e5, and it prepares the move queen b7, which is what I want to team up on this diagonal. Now, a move like this might look kind of nice, trying to get the knight versus bishop trade. You say, oh, it's the bishop pair. It's not a bad move in and of itself, but if the bishop moves, the knight is now offside immediately, and h3 is coming, and knight e5 is coming in a moment. So the move queen c7 doesn't really hurt my position a whole lot, and even though this shows up, this was my idea all along regardless. So I have this beautiful battery barreling down. Notice how I have nothing in my position that's unguarded. Literally nothing. Nothing in my position has no guard. This has no guard for white, but also I just have a little bit more central pressure. I have this. I have these pawns ready to march down on the queen side, and they have very good escort, you know, too. They have the bishop, the queen, the rook, and so on. So here Eric plays knight h4, and this is sort of the beginning of me taking over this position a little bit as I trade and then play the move rook a8. Now, the computer here gives a way for white to equalize with this very well-timed move c4, because as we saw later in the game, I started encroaching on the queen side, but if he was able to fight back right away, he would have relieved some of the pressure here, and he would have actually had a pretty good standoff here with me on the queen side. I don't have a whole lot anymore. In general, when you're playing against an opponent and you have a lot of active pieces, as you see in this game, active pieces combined with active piece play, you don't want to be so passive because you allow me to dictate the shots and call the shots. When your opponent begins fighting back on c4 and changes the pace of the game, you begin playing the game on their terms, and that's very important. A well-timed pawn break, and that's called seizing back the initiative. Now I have to make moves on his terms with the move c4. But after the move queen f1, we're still playing on my terms. I'm still the one that's going to be creating threats, and that's why right now I do exactly that with the move h6. I kind of ask him what these pieces are doing. g5 is coming. He can now not go back to f3. He ended up taking. If he plays a move like bishop e5 in this position, I'm still looking at g5 potentially as a move, because again, if something like bishop takes, queen takes, this is hanging and that's hanging, so there are some problems. Of course, I can also throw in this, and then play the move g5, at which point, again, we have a situation where two pieces hang. And this is just a very, very pleasant position for black as I begin slaughtering the queen side while this horse eats grass on the other side of the board. So he takes, and now, again, this problem, he definitely should have played the move knight g2 here. Knight g2 defending the bishop on f4, but he allows me to smash open the king side, and this is always going to be a good decision. You don't want to trade a bishop for a knight unless there's a good reason. In this case, there is. I open the king, and the doubled h-pawns are just terrible. And I sort of begin walking forward, and that's what I do here. I threaten the breaking up of the queen side. I could have been a little bit more accurate here, but I even allow him to take and threaten a checkmate. But there's this well-timed move, queen f6, and it attacks the bishop, and it attacks the pawn, and it attacks the other pawn still. So the bishop goes, I take the pawn on h4. I'm now no longer down any pawns. And the last thing you want to do when you've got pressure is to simplify. Like, I do not want a queen trade here. I lose almost all of my advantage. So instead of that, I give him a check, get back out of the way, and now I begin beating up the queen side. So the advanced queen side pawns do the job here. I give him a check. And even though he's able to threaten mate again, I can play queen h7, but I find a very nice tactical sequence here to defend mate, but also forcefully give checks and win material, and that's queen b1. Because I saw that after he goes here, this is check again, and then I will take another pawn, and mate will be defended. So I do exactly that. I swoop in, grab two pawns, mate is stopped, and the entire queen side has been cleared out. But the game has one final plot twist, which is in this position. I played the move queen e5. What? I don't know. I don't know what I thought I was doing. I can't explain it. It's been a little bit of time since we played this game. I still don't understand what on earth the point here could have been. Like, why didn't I go here? It's the same idea, right? I'm just gonna push my b and c pawn. Why didn't I play b2? I don't know, and I spooked him. You literally cannot get any closer. I mean, unless the queen was one square away. You cannot get any closer. And he thought for like 5-7 seconds, and then played f4. I don't know. I mean, I would love to explain to you why I played queen e5. I don't know. But then I gave him a few checks, and went on to win the game in a little bit of a time scramble. Yeah, I mean, it was a little bit messy toward the end, but it is what it is. And I think officially I ended up winning on time, but yeah, well, I wanted to show you this queen e5 blunder because I don't know. I'm just like you, all right? I'm just like you. So hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you can feel a little bit less bad about some of your mistakes, seeing that they happen to international masters as well. And let me know if you want to see some more games from the park in the future. I'll see you in the next video. Get out of here.